Have you ever been in a situation where you should be crying? A sad movie, a heartbreaking goodbye, a funeral. Everyone around you is a waterfall of emotion and you feel like a desert. You feel the sadness, the pressure, the lump in your throat, but the tears just won't come. And it's not that you don't care, it's that your body seems to have forgotten the password to its own emotional release. Here's what most people get wrong about that. They assume the absence of tears means the absence of feeling. It doesn't. Crying is not an emotion. It's a biological release mechanism, as involuntary as sneezing, as physical as a valve releasing pressure from a pipe. When that valve won't open, it isn't a character flaw. It's a signal. Something in the system has been blocked, and it has been blocked for a reason. The most common reason is one most people carry without ever naming it: conditioning. For many of us, especially men, crying was treated as a malfunction from a very early age. Not always with words. Sometimes it was just a look, a parent who stiffened, a classroom that went quiet, a coach who kept moving. The message didn't need to be spoken. Over enough repetitions, your brain received it clearly. Tears equal danger. And your brain, which exists to protect you, responded accordingly. It learned to intercept the signal before it could complete itself. The emotion still arrives. It always arrives. But somewhere between feeling it and expressing it, a door gets slammed shut. You don't stop feeling the sadness. You just stop being allowed to show it. And eventually, you stop being able to. The second reason runs deeper and is far more exhausting. Emotional numbness. This isn't weakness. This is what happens when a nervous system has been running emergency protocols for too long. Grief, chronic stress, prolonged trauma, these don't just hurt. They overload. And an overloaded system does what any overloaded system does. It starts cutting non-essential functions to stay operational. Crying is a crisis response. If you have been in crisis for months or years without relief, your body eventually stops authorizing the response. Not because it doesn't care, because it has nothing left to spend. It's not that you feel nothing, it's that you've been feeling everything for so long at such intensity that the circuit has quietly burned out. The third reason is one people rarely admit to, even to themselves: fear. Specifically, fear of what happens if you start and cannot stop. For some people, tears don't feel like a release. They feel like a collapse. There is a belief, usually unexamined, that the grief being held back is too large to survive. That one crack in the surface will split everything open. That they will dissolve into something they can't come back from. So the body holds and holds and holds. Not because it is strong, because it is terrified of what strong has been pretending to contain. The fourth reason is the least understood. It's a trauma response, and it operates below the level of thought. Most people know fight or flight. Fewer talk about the third option: freeze. When an emotion becomes too large for the nervous system to process in real time, the brain does not always choose to fight it or flee from it. Sometimes it simply stops. Everything locks. The face goes still. The body goes quiet. From the outside, it can look like coldness, like indifference. From the inside, there is often nothing at all. Not peace, not strength, just a complete and total suspension of the system. That is not a person who doesn't care. That is a person in emotional shock. So what do you do when you're stuck in that dry, pressurized place and you want to find a way out? You don't force it. Forcing tears is like trying to force sleep. The effort itself defeats the purpose. What you are actually trying to do is create the conditions where your nervous system feels safe enough to let go. Start with the environment. Crying is one of the most vulnerable things a human body can do. It will not happen if the body feels exposed or observed or unsafe. Find a time and place where you are genuinely alone. Dim the lights. Put on music that has moved you before. Let the room feel small and quiet. You are not performing grief. You are giving your system permission to stop guarding. Then move into the body before you try to move into the mind. Don't reach for the sadness directly. Reach for the tension first. Slow, heavy exhales, the kind your body makes when it finally sets something down. A deliberate roll of the neck, pressure released from the shoulders. Emotions don't live only in the mind. They live in the body, in the chest and the jaw and the base of the throat, and sometimes the body needs to go first. And if neither of those works, try a proxy. Cry for the character in the book. Cry at the piece of music that feels like it was written specifically for a loss you've never been able to name. The pain doesn't have to be aimed directly at your own life to be real. Sometimes the only way through the wall is to approach it sideways. Your tears are not a performance. They are not proof of weakness, and they are not proof of strength. They are simply what happens when something true moves through a body that is finally willing to let it. The flood is not the point. The first drop is.